Greetings, Marsh here, and welcome to episode 189 of my modded Factorio playthrough. In this episode, we are going to work on producing better solar panels. Enjoy. Well, now that we have the power generation set up, should probably look at solar panels too, since that researched while we were taking care of things. The solar panel 2s require, looks like glass, silver, and white electronics in addition to the previous tier. So you might as well build all of those. How is the power system doing, by the way? Okay, it's managing. It's running at full blast. Charging up the batteries, though. It looks like it's operating pretty cleanly. It's making its way through all of the blocks. And none of the other systems are running at the moment, which makes sense because we want priority for the fuel blocks. So it seems like that's working. But since we upgraded that, we might as well upgrade the other power items as well. I wonder if we can do the better accumulators. Well, it seems not, because it's behind green circuits here. But it doesn't require any green circuits, which is kind of annoying. It is a little frustrating, because I'm not sure exactly why it's locked that way, but it seems to be. So for the time being, we're just going to have to do regular solar panels. And because they kind of take a long time to craft, and a lot of resources go into them, kind of want to get that process started now. Plus we're going to need to expand the bot's reach all the way to the solar panel farm here, which is going to take some time, so we might as well get it started now, and then let them just do their thing. We have been making panels over here. Nothing too special, just a couple of machines. But the recipe might change a little bit because we're going to have coils now. It's probably fine having one machine, but let's see what it'll look like. We'll need to make each of the types. I want one machine of each. I'll just do those separately. And that's not too much of a resource requirement, so we probably can put a bunch of speed modules in here. That's still not too bad. On that other setup, I think we had 3 of the large panel machines, 2 of the mediums, and 1 of the smalls just because of the different manufacturing times. Well, let's add the other sizes here, just so we get an idea of total resource requirement. And it's actually fairly close to our maximum circuit board output. I believe we're limited to 15 for white circuits. Suppose I should check here. Let's see, we've got 2 of these. Yeah, about 20. We probably could beef it up more, but it's not like we could really go crazy with it. Plus, we don't immediately need these panels, so it's kind of okay to wait for them. So let's see how this would work. Coil machines with productivity modules, and silver plates need to come in on this side. Well, that's pretty close to a 1-to-2 ratio, so I feel like even though it's kind of a bit much, that we should try to do this 1-to-2-ish. It's not perfect, but that'll be a good use of the available machines. And I don't think that'll change much with these other setups. It kind of does. They're not, they don't use the perfect amount of resources. The resource usage is a bit different between all of them. It's similar, but not exact. So you see, doing the same thing here means we need slightly less than 1 machine making the coils. So probably should calculate them all just to make sure there's nothing unexpected here. And for a time, the factory will be able to handle this at full power. Yeah, limiting factor. Actually, it's both circuits are limited, but we won't necessarily be making all 3 sizes at the same time, all of the time. But it looks like we have it set up right because we have the coils, the base resources, and the glass, which is just on the bus. So we have 3 setups that are essentially the same except for tiny differences. It may not really matter as far as inserters go. Well, let's build them based on the one that goes faster. And then the one that goes slower, which is the medium panel, should also look correct. Let's see. I'm not sure exactly what I had in mind here, but having 2 coil machines over here, feeding those would work, but then we've got to get the panels up a bit. And I guess we'd put it on the bottom here because there's a little space. So it'd be something like this, making the bigger ones, and then the resources would have to come from over here and down. That's a little messy, but what can you do? And then one of these would be for the copper plates, and one of them would be for the steel. And this one would need its own source of the silver, which we can put there. And that's should basically be all of the machines. Well, I guess we need 2 of them, though. So it is going to be a little strange looking, where the resources get handed straight over to here. But the rest of them have to come down a little bit. But, yeah. I mean, we're having bots now, so the belts don't have to be particularly perfect anymore. It'll be good enough. Let's see, where would all the power lines go to make sure that everything reaches? So the resources could go in there. We'll just drop on one side of the belt there. And they would just go straight in. I think we would just need yellow inserters going across here. We can save ourselves a few inserters because these machines are 1-to-1 ratio, so it could just go straight into this machine, and then this bypass would come all the way down to this one to go in. Let's see, this machine would require its silver. Make that long-handed. The silver would come up there and insert into each. And they would need to go in a chest. Let's do a passive provider. And then we'll use a storage, so the storage will be the one that gets priority for where the solar panels go if we have extras. I mean, we could use both be storage, but I would rather all of the extras that go into a storage warehouse be placed into a specific storage warehouse rather than be split between 2 of them. So let's say if we ever have to come up here and pick some up by hand, well, instead of having to check both chests, we can just kind of grab it out of the storage chest because we know that's going to be the one that has all of the items in it. Probably doesn't matter too much, though. Then let's use an everything condition. Let's say 50 is fine. And there's also the situation of what happens if we pick up extra tier 1 panels. That is actually kind of problematic. There's not quite enough space here. Because I need to have room for a signal to turn this on and off. So I guess we'll use inserters. Going in, going out, then going into that one. Ah, but it actually connects down here. I'll just leave the inserter there. Connect it to the box. Say it has to be less than 50. And this one will be for the tier 1 panels. And that should give priority to that. And I think that basically does it. Other than the fact that we'd want 3 of them. Let's just leave 2 spaces. I imagine that would be enough. Because we've got a bunch of extra spaces there and we can move those rubber ports around if we need to. And I'll leave 2 spaces between each one of these. And we got to get all the modules in here. Looks like we have a little bit of expansion to do. But I don't think the robots will need too much in terms of parking here. So just the 1 should be good enough. I don't know if I really want to be using bots to lay down concrete. It's such a slow process for bots. But at the same time, it's kind of an annoyingly slow process for me too. But I don't really want to be wasting nanobots, because when you think about it, all I have to do is just kind of hold left click and walk around. That doesn't really require too much thinking. The handcrafting, though, does require a little bit of effort. And here they come to bring me my concrete. I don't know, honestly it's probably not that necessary that robots bring me concrete, considering how quickly it can get used. But oh well. And it's gone already. It's a tricky thing, considering how much of it you can use and how quickly. Because there's a whole bunch of it in there. I feel like laying concrete is best done by completely clearing out your inventory and just running around and placing it, because of how quickly you can go through it. Let's see, we probably can save a bunch of belts. Be a little messy, but we can just kind of hook them all up like this, so we only have to hook up one belt rather than 3 of the exact same resources in close proximity that aren't really even using the resources that quickly. It's kind of a lot of belt foo I wasn't really thinking about. It's probably not that necessary, considering there's really nothing above that would require it, so it might be okay to be a little lazy here. And while I'm building this, actually, now that I think about it, I should have given the bots a directive to continue expanding. No, there's no radar right there. Well, we'll let them get that far. And then when the solar panels are ready, we'll have to run down there. But it looks like the bots are getting to work. It's just it's pretty far away. And we don't have any buffer chests at the moment. These are going to be some of the last resources that we haven't used yet on the bus. I forgot about the electronics boards as well, meaning we're starting to jam quite a bit into this space. Because of the quantity, this is going to have to be a red belt. Of course, now this is in the way. Okay, this should be enough to test everything. Hopefully got all the resources in there. Though I don't think I did, because glass is a thing we need in there. Good thing I left spaces. Yeah, these need glass. But not very much, I don't think. Looks like these are in the way again. Hopefully, third time's a charm, and they won't have to move again. No silver sheet coil. It's just getting made very slowly. We are in a situation where we can make it faster, but I don't think it's a critical shortage of it yet, so we can just see if it clears itself out on its own. That ended up being a pretty dense collection of belts there. Actually, in the future, when there's even more resources to send down there, it probably will be too much. And will have to be combined. But for now it works, and it's already in place. So I think I'm just going to leave it. This did fill up with the 50 solar panels. But this should be the last thing, hopefully. And it will begin producing our tier 2 panels. I think it's moving fast enough there, yeah. Making those tier 2s. Well, in that case, everything else should work. Of course, it's going to nuke our resources, but that is okay for now. And how about some lights? Seems like it's working okay. And how have the bots done? In that case, in certain situations, it might be faster to place them manually. And wasn't there an upgrade item that lets nanobots work within the network? Yeah. But unfortunately, it's green science. So we're going to have to do this by hand. We don't have any nanobots on the network, but we're also kind of far away, so it almost wouldn't matter, but we probably should put those on the network. Okay, well that gets the robots here. They will eventually expand, but now we'll need to create a pattern that we can place that will use the higher tier panels and also give robots a way to access all of those panels. And I do think we needed to put a radar in here somewhere too. These things almost have as much range as I can see on the minimap, but there we go. And the robots should finish up here. Let's create a repeatable pattern first, and then we can figure out how many of them we're actually going to need. I mean, one thing we can do is just replace the same footprint with the new panels. Because I don't even think that they're linked to the accumulators anymore, because I think we have twice as many accumulators as we need for panels, so maybe we should just replace panels based on the actual power output and go from there. Because the accumulator amount seems to be pretty healthy, because it tends to hold out. Okay, looks like it did stop at 50. Except these are all making the largest, because I didn't change the recipe. Of course, I'm making a huge mess here. Well, let's see, logistically, we don't want any of the worst panels. And let's get rid of all the larges. Just throw them in that chest there. Let's see, we don't have the output inserter. Right here, and we're not producing very many of these, so I think we can just place it on the end here. And let's change this to mediums to smalls. And the same for these. Well, it would be nice to have a big old stack of each. And it might be easier to be using substations now. And it looks like the logistics zone is more than enough. Well, let's see if we can do something nice and simple without doing a lot of jigsaw Lego pieces. Let's see if these all just fit in a square without anything crazy. It seems like they do, at least on this angle. See, this side less so, but the 3s will fit. Let's see if they go to the edge. They do. It's nice having the whole area covered rather than only part of it, because if you have these normal poles, the wire reaches longer than their coverage area, so you have that area in the middle that can't be covered. But with full coverage like this, we can mostly just fill it up. Looks like we will have a little bit going on there, but that's okay, because we can just do that and then it will link together. And I'm not too worried about putting any lights or anything in here, since we have night vision now. Let's see, this side might be a little awkward. I kind of want to do it symmetrically. So on this other side it had these smalls, and then it had mediums. It looks like there's one more space for mediums, but to make it symmetrical, we can put those mediums right in the middle. Just like that. Although I didn't quite build this symmetrically, because the mediums need to be on the bottom here. Meaning I think we need 2 rows of larges. And then in the middle, we have our 2 rows of mediums. Okay. Still the area on the bottom there, but we still need to get the robot coverage in here, and it looks like this is the very center of the grid. I wonder if we can just place it directly in the center. Because then wouldn't the outside be filled with smalls? Yeah. I like that. That way, every single space is still being used. And there we go. That should be something that we can tile as much as we need to. Yep, and of course, it will tile up this way as well. Okay, and that reach is plenty. So how much power is this? Well, it's daytime, so we will know. Probably should write that down, but we've got 22.8 megawatts. And what's our solar output now? We should still be able to tell, even if it's not hooked up. It's 290. So if we come in here and say our 290 divided by 22.8, we should need about 13 of them. And what does this look like for size? Well, if that's 1, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then there'd be a 7 for 13 over there. Yeah, that seems about right. Compared to what we have now, and considering the efficiency increase. It's not huge. So those numbers make sense, and we probably, at this point, want to think about upgrading this. Because we are starting to use a lot of power, and when you think about it, just 290 megawatts really isn't that much. Especially because our factory on average uses a lot more than that. It's just burning byproducts to maintain the power, but the byproducts won't always be there, and we want to have that capability saved up. Well, we should probably put this in the blueprint book. We should have one saved up, though. Yeah. So we can grab that. Don't worry about the floor. And change this to be that. Now the robots will help, but they'll have a very long way to go. But it's also about nighttime, so that's pretty good timing. Oh, can they reach all the way down here? I was thinking that they couldn't. Oh, but I guess they're construction bots, so they can. Their range is much further. and logistics bots, so... Well, they're going to have a long way to go, which is a little disappointing. But they'll get it done eventually. I'm wondering if we should start construction on the other side of the bottom of the base there. So instead of replacing the solar panels in place, we can get some down first so we're not stuck with nothing in the beginning. Because once these bots start picking everything up, there's going to be no solar power for a while. And even though it is night, it might take them a little while to get the process done. Meanwhile, we do need nanobot ammo. Don't have much space in the inventory for it right now, but some is better than nothing. And that's the end of the episode. On the next one, we're going to upgrade the solar farm. Thanks for watching. I'll see you later.